Welcome to the Look Good, Move Well podcast.
What do you need to know about sleep, Satya? That's what we're talking about today. Let's get to it. Stop the old chitter-chatter. There's nothing to talk about other than the topic of today, which is how does sleep impact you? How should we be approaching sleep if we're in the functional bodybuilding, look good, move well lifestyle? And is it really important, or can you just sleep when you're dead?
Yeah. Well, this actually wasn't my particular question, but I do think it's a great one.
Yeah, that's right.
Came in from someone in our Persist program, posted to the FBB Facebook group, which you can check out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was from someone who had a bodybuilding background where sleep was very much prioritized, and that connection between getting the most out of your workout and having good sleep was very prominent in their lifestyle. And they get into more of the functional fitness, mixed modal universe and start looking around. And there's all these people who seem to train a lot on 4 or 5 hours. And so what's really normal here? And how should one go about training for the day if you end up a little short on your sleep for the night?
By the way, I like that this was a question that was posed by we'll call that person an ex-bodybuilder. They're still a bodybuilder. They're still doing functional bodybuilding. But hey, in my bodybuilding community, sleep was like number one, and then everything else followed. Like you didn't get your sleep, everything adjusted. And maybe the same could be true for other sports or other approaches to fitness, but it is particularly true in the bodybuilding world. And I think it's important to name that, shine a little spotlight on it, and ask why. Why is sleep so important in the bodybuilding community? And I'm pausing here because so many people come into fitness programs looking to look better. They want to make changes to their bodies. Bodybuilding is a sport dedicated to changing bodies. Yeah, granted, there's like a muscularity component to bodybuilding that isn't what maybe the average person is chasing, but there is a body composition manipulation component to bodybuilding that everybody is really trying to win the game at when they're trying to change their bodies. I want to reduce fat, hold on to muscle, and optimize that balance for myself. The bodybuilder is trying to maximize muscle in, let's say, heavyweight categories, maximize muscle and symmetry while minimizing body fat. And so what are the tools that they're using to maximize these things? And if sleep is so important and so profoundly important to that community, we have to take pause and be like, oh, wait a minute. Sleep, really important for body composition. It's incredibly important. And why is that? Well, sleep as a period of time to restore the body is also one of the most impactful activities or non-activities that you can do to positively impact your hormone function in your body. And losing body fat, while it is very much a product of balancing macronutrients and calories, really just caloric consumption relative to your expenditure, the ability to lose fat and not chew up muscle tissue, the ability to get that energy balance equation optimized, to reduce cravings, to be able to go through a caloric deficit and not be so stressed out that you lose ability to control your, cravings and your energy throughout the day. Sleep and having good hormone balance is vital. And so I just think that we're going to probably get into a conversation about sleep and training performance, which has its own conversation, but sleep and body composition is something that if you're a listener and body composition is important to you, you sway towards the look good side of things versus the move well side of things, then you absolutely need to pay attention. You need to understand that this is not something you can take lightly, because adequate sleep leads to proper hormonal balance, decrease levels of cortisol, increased production of growth hormone and, natural androgens that will optimize muscle tissue synthesis. And with lower cortisol and higher growth hormone, you're going to have an easier time, your body's going to have an easier time letting go of body fat stores and building tissue that looks, what people are looking for when they want a lean physique.
See, this is so interesting because I've definitely had that experience where I've been a little bit short on sleep and I'm kind of sluggish throughout the day, and I'll go into my training and be like, okay, I'll just get what I can get out of this. And then I kind of get into the groove and I get a surprisingly great training session that day. And so you walk away thinking, oh, wow, maybe I just cheated a little bit, or, it didn't turn out to be so bad. But that doesn't really convey the whole picture of what's happening inside your body and how that might affect your aesthetics, if that's really your goal and that happens consistently over time.
Yeah, how it might affect your aesthetics over time, and then how it might have downstream effects on your ability to perform to a certain level. You also have to understand, what is my level of performance that I need? It's like, to go get a good bodybuilding session in that where you can adequately stimulate your muscles to either maintain or maybe grow a little bit, whatever, get a good stimulus in your muscles. You don't need to have a world-class performance for the average person. If you're Ronnie Coleman in his heyday, who was the, winningest bodybuilder of all time, he's 300 pounds muscle. If he wants to get to 301 pound of muscle, he's going to have to do some epic stuff in the gym. And if you watch his old training videos, he did some epic training. He was squatting 800 pounds for doubles. He was deadlifting, like a maniac. And it took a toll on his body, but to go and do something like that, there's no way Ronnie's coming into the gym with 4 hours of sleep. Absolutely not. But for me to, go and squat 225 pounds for a set of 10, I can do that on a decent night's sleep, a poor night's sleep, or a good night's sleep. And, I'm not saying that it's best to do it on 4 hours of sleep, but I could still go in the gym and get a decent stimulus, and my muscles are going to maintain their look and aesthetic and size. So how much do you want to perform? What is your goal performance in the gym? That's going to dictate what you can get away with, what you're talking about. I just kind of got away with it, right? Well, okay, this is the level of training that you needed to get the feeling that you wanted. It wasn't, not to take anything away from how hard you push, but you didn't have to go and lift, superhuman weights, which is going to rely heavily on your brain being fresh and recharged and having all of that nervous system energy that comes from adequate rest and recovery during sleep time. So the central nervous system, the brain and the spinal cord, which is where all of these motor, neurons originate and send signals to the muscles to fire. It's your central battery, so to speak. And when you sleep, it recharges the battery. If you get a poor night's sleep, it only recharges to 50%. And when you go to lift, you only got 50% juice. I'm oversimplifying this, but that's about all you need to know. It's your brain was not recharged. Now, what helps give the brain a little bit of, or the body a little bit of a boost in the moment? Hormones, adrenaline. We all can produce adrenaline. We can all produce cortisol. These are stress hormones that are the fight or flight hormones that get us moving to do amazing things in the moment. And we are all cultivating those when we train, whether you're rested or not. But if you come in poorly rested, bad sleep, you're going to rely heavily on those hormones to get you through. And all it takes is getting it going, getting through those first 10, 15 minutes where you're kind of feeling sluggish. And then suddenly you pick up the weight and your brain's like, whoa, we got to do something here. And, and then it tells all the different endocrine glands to pump out those hormones. And then the hormones are out and then you're like, oh, I actually think I slept pretty good last night, I guess. I'm doing good. It's no, you didn't sleep great. Your brain was foggy. You were not clicking on all cylinders, but we went to our reserve tank, which is the hormones, and we pumped them out, and now you're good to go. But if you're doing that every single day, there's downstream consequences for sure.
When you're talking with one of your individual clients or thinking about how one of our coaches counsels their clients on the sleep and lifestyle piece, how do you tend to go about framing this for a client or getting a little bit more buy-in on those people who might feel like I just can't get more sleep, or I would really need to reprioritize things in order to get better quality sleep if I'm going to impact my training or aesthetic?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think that, like, with most clients, the connection between sleep and improving your training or sleep and improving your body composition might not be the first place people are going to experience the benefits of sleeping better, right? It's like, I almost want to focus on, like, well, what's going on with the quality of your life? Like, you know, where is poor sleep impacting you, or where's it showing up? And just start to understand some of, like, their lifestyle habits, their patterns. Like, you feel groggy? Do you feel like, you know, how many cups of coffee do you need to get your day started? Like, do you wake up and just basically the first hour of your day is just a complete wash? You know, are you that wired and tired person that's like, you're underslept, but like 10 o'clock rolls around and you're like, oh, ready to go, and like you're all out of whack, and then you're like, I can't fall asleep. And so we just figure out, like, where their pain point is in life, not necessarily in training. Maybe it's like, if they're highly, highly motivated around training and around aesthetics, we can start to have that conversation. But, you know, when you start to sleep better, you don't magically lose 10 pounds. When you start to sleep better, you will wake up and be like, fuck, I feel great. Like, damn, like, I'm feeling a little chipper. You know, I woke up on the right side of the bed today. And you'll notice that more quickly. You might even notice, like, oh, I decreased I'm not craving as many sugars, like, or as much candy in the afternoon. Like, that happens before you lose the 10 pounds. So, you know, focusing on lifestyle factors first, or life, like, just life rhythms, what's happening in your day. I think that's kind of the place to think about, you know, how is sleep going to impact me?
Yeah, because all these things are really connected. And so I think that it's easy to get distracted by one particular area that you might want to optimize and think that that's just going to fix everything. But really, it's looking at the whole picture of, well, if you're super stressed and you have no way to release that stress and you just try to get in bed at 9 p.m., it's not necessarily going to have the cumulative effect that you might be looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I talk to people about around the conversation around sleep, you know, there's a lot of focus on, like, the total amount of time that people get. It's like, you got to get your 8 hours. You got to get to this many hours. And for me, when I coach and when I think about this, and this is something I've noticed a lot, because I get a lot of data from my, you know, my Whoop, my fitness tracker, right? I don't like the word fitness tracker because I think that means people think it's like, oh, you track your workouts.
Yeah,
with it,
your steps or something.
Yeah, I don't track any of that stuff. I track, like, my sleep. It's like a sleep recovery device. Anyhow, what I notice is that, you know, I might go through phases where my total time in bed is closer to 7 hours versus 8 hours. And, like, the total number of hours might fluctuate given the time of year. I find myself in the wintertime, I actually will stay in bed longer because it's darker. But in the summertime, like, I'm like, the light's coming through and I'm like, I want to get up and move. And but what's always really, I'm very consistent with, and they call it sleep performance. Like, they give you a performance number. You get sort of like brownie points for going to bed and waking up at the same time. And that's what has always been such an anchor point for me in sleep, and what I think should be the first anchor point for most people with their sleep is creating rhythm. And this could be, we could have a conversation about how to create rhythm in everything that you do, from when you eat your meals, when you drink your coffee, when you work out, when you poop, when you go to work, when you shut the computer off, when you watch your shows, when you turn your shows off, when you go to bed, blah, blah, blah. But that if we're going to focus on the sleep conversation, that's a place to just put in rhythm. And you're like, hey, I don't know how to get 8 hours. It's like, well, what are you getting now? Like, I'm getting 6. Sometimes I go to bed at 11, sometimes I go to bed at 2 in the morning, sometimes I go to bed at this, sometimes it's like let's pick a time where you can you can consistently get into bed and then consistently get up, regardless of how many hours that is. Let's just create that consistency first. And it's just like with nutrition coaching, it's like, well, let's just get a consistent diet going where you eat the same thing or close to the same amounts every day at the same times. And then we can figure out whether we need to like add protein or cut back on calories or change your carbs, or we can do something. But until it's the same and consistent, then it's just this moving target constantly. We don't know. Are you tired because you got 5 hours of sleep? Or are you tired because you went to bed at 1 in the morning versus 10? Because sleeping from 10 to 3 in the morning versus 1 to 6 has a different impact on your body. You can get more deep sleep before 2 a.m. in your body's rhythms, hormone rhythms allow for that. And that might feel more restful to you, and you might have better performance as a result. So I think that's really key, and where, I'm always looking to see like, hey, it's, we have a very structured life because we have these 2 little kids. We know when they're going to go to bed, and we also know when they're going to get up. So it's like, this is our time. Like, if I want to sleep in, like, forget it. It's not happening. So I'm going to bed. When 8:30 rolls around, I see the time and I'm like, yep, whatever we're doing, it's time to start moving to bed. 9 o'clock latest. And then I wake up about the same time every day. And so those are always consistent. And if I get into a place where I'm feeling like I'm in a sleep debt, or like I'm tired, I'm not getting fully rested, then I know what time I've gone to bed, and okay, maybe I try and push the wake up time a little bit more. And that's where I end up playing, is because like if I push the wake up time a little later, I get a little less time to myself, and that time to myself is valuable in the morning before the kids are up. So it's always a trade-off for me.
Yeah, I have that same little dance going.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like, do I take 30 minutes to have like quiet alone time, or do I sleep? You know, and if you don't get alone time and quiet time, you're weighing the value of one thing over the other. And 30 minutes of quiet alone time is not like a 1-to-1 equatable thing to sleep. It's just different.
Totally different. Okay, so let's say that you have gotten less than an optimal amount of sleep and you head into your training. How do you approach it that day? Do you pull back? Do you just do the best you can? What goes through your mind?
Yeah, I think with training, it's like as a coach, I know that there are aspects of training that are more, nervous system dependent. What's the part of training that really requires that your brain is sharp, it's able to send powerful signals? It could be, it's arguably every aspect of human performance is negatively impacted by poor sleep. But there are certain areas where it's like, if I don't get a good night's sleep, I'm not going to be able to max out my snatch. For sure not. I'm probably also not going to PR my 2K row. But, I definitely don't perform well under weights. And because I'm not really coming into the gym to try and PR, I'm just coming in to train with intent and get the stimulus out of whatever it is in front of me. I know that the weight training elements of my workouts will suffer more when I'm underslept. Or historically, I have seen that the risk reward of pushing strength training or weight training on inadequate sleep is just not favorable. It's like I could tweak something, this is when people talk about like getting injured during training. And I always used to say like, well, a well-rested brain and a properly warmed up human doesn't just have like a freak injury in training. It's when your brain is a little bit tired, you're not properly, the joints are not well lubricated. You go to do a lift and the brain doesn't fire the stability muscles quickly enough, and something deviates and you tweak something. So that's where I will pull back on training. If this past week, one of my daughters was waking up a lot at night because she was sick. And that doesn't always equate to a terrible night's sleep, but there were a couple nights in a row that were really bad where I woke up and I was like, whoa, and didn't have a very good morning at all. And I knew that training was going to suffer. So I put a little bit more effort into the conditioning, or I kind of prioritized that more, and I just really backed off on my lifting. And I took the option to like truncate some of the portions of the workouts, like do 3 to 5 sets. Okay, I'm doing 3. You can go for 16 or you can go for 24 minutes. I'm going for 16 minutes. Like I'm just gonna, I'm gonna do the I don't call it the minimum, but I'm gonna do, because it's not the minimum. It's more than what is required to survive.
Yes.
But I'm gonna just do a little bit less, and that gives me the opportunity. This is the same approach I take when I'm sick. It's like if I'm sick, it's kind of the same impact on your nervous system. It's like all the energy and the resources are going, your immune system is trying to heal, and your brain and other systems of your body are not getting as much focus and preparation and energy.
Yeah, I always have this thought that goes through my mind on days like that where I just say to myself, I'm going to live on to fight another day. Like today is just not worth going to the edge, doing anything crazy. Like, so what if I back off 10 pounds on my snatch or whatever? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I think we both find ourselves in this, place in life where that's totally okay. If you're trying to win the CrossFit Games and you have one of those a month, you're probably okay. If you start to have like 3 or 4, I guarantee, whoever's winning the games is getting stressed out. They're like, whoa, like I've had 4 bad nights of sleep this month. Like my training is suffering. I'm not going to win. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so that, having a bad night of sleep, having 2 bad nights of sleep a week, it's not going to, it doesn't mean you can't be in good shape and you can't have a good looking body. And it doesn't mean that at all. It just means you have to be like mindful about how you approach it, because the way your sleep, if you're in that category of like look good, move well, the way your sleep is going to have detrimental effects on your body, or like really big catastrophic impact on your body, is if you go to the gym on a bad night's sleep and you try and be a hero and you injure yourself and you can't train for a month. That's how it's going to really set you way, way back. So I just think it is, live to fight another day. Like, don't be a hero, come back tomorrow and I'll be better. And I do know that, if you, I know for myself, but I believe that the listeners might not be as aware, like when you have many consecutive days of just sort of like poor sleep, and then that's just like becomes your new norm for training, you just don't even realize that you're underperforming and that you have more to give and that you could feel better. And this is like many of the gym members that used to come to my gym when I was, coaching at a gym, and I owned a gym. They were just, I could just see they were just sort of like zombies, like just moving through life. Like, don't even realize I'm so, I remember there was one guy, Rob McAdam, and if he's listening, this is a shout out to Rob McAdam. I'm doing my intro consultation. Hey, welcome to the gym. Like we're sitting on the couch, and I shit you not, he was there with his partner. He fell asleep. Like he full on passed out. Like he was I think he had like a newborn, he was like, it was just bad news. But he passed out on me, and I was like, this guy's going to be a problem.
This guy needs some help.
Yeah, I had to wake him up, get him on the rowing machine and do the baseline workout with him. It was a situation.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a really good indicator that you're underslept.
Yeah.
Conking out at the CrossFit gym.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what is something to keep in mind as like your top sleep tip to help people just get a little bit of a nudge in the right direction?
Well, I do believe that like, this, it's kind of like with, I've already mentioned it, but it's the same thing with food. It's like, everything starts with discipline, and then it becomes like something that you start to crave and your body adjusts to it. It's like you start to be disciplined enough to eat the 5 ingredient meals, with simple seasonings on it, and then after a couple weeks, you're like, man, this broccoli tastes amazing. Like I'm into this, right? Imagine that. Same thing with sleep. It's, prioritizing that. This is when I go to sleep. This is when I wake up. Like having the discipline to create the consistency, like time points when you call it bedtime, and then your body starts to get tired at those times. So you're like, oh, I used to be like wide awake until 11, but like I had the discipline to like go and lay in bed and make this, make 9:30 or 10 my time. And now when 10 o'clock rolls around, I'm just tired, and people are like, how do you go to bed at 8:30? And it's like, cause I fall asleep. Like I literally am not awake, after that. So, you'll get there. That's like a big, that's the tip number one. But then there's so much in the lead up to sleep that I think people can really benefit from. And it looks different for every single person. There's so many tips and hacks out there, but in order for you to really fall asleep, your nervous system needs to quiet down. You need to stop buzzing. We're all buzzing all day. We're all vibing at a high frequency. And people that suffer with sleep, they're trying to vibe at that high frequency late. They're playing video games late. They're watching very stimulating, maybe emotionally triggering. Like the worst sleep I got in the last like 3-4 years was Game of Thrones. Like watching that with my wife at night, I was like, how the fuck do you go to sleep after that? It's like so intense. Like,
not Bachelor in Paradise?
VIP, I can watch that and fall right asleep.
The drama doesn't keep you up.
Grocery store Joe puts me into a nice deep sleep. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, so what are you doing? What are your rhythms and your habits? When my wife and I have an intense conversation, like after 8 p.m., 8:30, we're talking about something that's going on with the kids or something that we're disagreeing on. Like people call these arguments. We just call them tough conversations, whatever. Like that's going to make for a really hard time sleeping, and it's funny, like when we weren't married yet, but I was competing in CrossFit and like sleep was so precious. Like I'd freak out when we were like having like conversations like late at night. I'm like, I gotta go to bed. Like I can't talk about this now. Like
I have to train tomorrow.
Like it's 8:30. We don't talk about anything that's important right now. I have to go to bed. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why competing had to stop. It's a little selfish to be like, we can't talk about important life stuff because I got a back squat tomorrow. So how are you turning down the frequency from your day? Do you like to go in the hot tub? Like that's something I have. Okay. Do you like to read a calm book, like under very like dim neutral light? Have you heard of wearing blue blocker glasses, which kind of cut blue light, which is a light like it's a light wavelength that you don't typically in historical evolutionary times we didn't have during the evening. It was only when like the sun was at its highest point. So this blue light that's like coming out of our screens, out of our phones, out of our laptops, out of the bulbs in our kitchen, it's telling our brain like, oh, it's daytime. Stay awake. Stay awake. So there's that tip. There's just turning electronics off. I mean, I'm guilty of it, but like I like to kind of be on social media late at night, and it's not good. Like the other night, I went into the hot tub and I sat down, and it's like I usually get out there about 10-15 minutes before Megan comes out, and I just go deep into the social media rabbit hole. It's fun. I watch the reels. I watch the things. I like it. But my phone died the moment I got in, and I was just, I was like, well, I'm just going to roll with this. I put the phone down, and I just sort of like was like present, and I'm like, it's 7:30 at night, the sun's going setting, it's peaceful out there, whole different energy.
Mm-hmm.
Megan comes out, she's like, well, look at you just kind of sitting there being a person, and I was like, yeah, my phone died and I'm feeling really good about it. So it's like we just have to I don't know that everyone has this awareness that like these are things that we're doing that are just revving us up so much.
Yeah.
And that's going to have a huge impact on when I can't fall asleep. It's like, well, when you're playing, I don't know, a video game where you're like the shooter and you're like running through like, rooms, and you're in a dark room with this big bright blue light coming at you, and it's 10 o'clock and you just had an epic session with your friends online. Like, yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to crash after that. But I'm not saying that like you should just throw out like the things that bring you joy. Like, don't not watch Game of Thrones. Just know that it's going to have an impact. And if it's sufficiently impacting your sleep in a negative way where you're like, oh God, like I really just don't, my life is suffering as a result of this. Like, we had to get to a point where we're like, okay, we got to cut the cord. We like, thank goodness this series is over. Let's just get through it. Come on, Jon Snow, just help me go back to bed, man. Kill Daenerys, kill her. Anyhow.
Yeah. So for people who are going to try out a better sleep routine, would you give it a couple weeks to really feel the effects of it or make that adjustment? What could people expect?
Yeah, I would say it's like a month. Like this is my month. It's my 30-day sleep challenge to just
Sleeptober.
October.
Sleeptember.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
Sleeptember, Sleeptober, Movember. We got some stuff coming up.
Stuff.
Yeah, we got mustaches and sleep and people giving up like alcohol and isn't that No Shave November? Isn't there something like what's the month where people go like sober?
Yeah,
Sober October.
Sober October. Oh,
Isn't
before the holidays.
I feel like that's happening.
I think that is. Yeah.
I feel like that's a Whoop thing, like a Joe Rogan thing.
Yeah, maybe.
And like he's like, yeah, I was sleeping way like Joe Rogan every year is like, man, it's amazing how good I feel. It's like right back to drinking. It's all good. You got to feel it out, learn that balance.
Learn
for
yourself.
Don't give up the things you love. It's like someone's like, hey, if you sleep way better when you don't drink coffee. It's like, you're right. I do. And I'm going to keep drinking my coffee.
Yep.
I'm into it.
Yeah. Well, and that is good to have a Whoop or at least some way of maybe just even a journal where you kind of note for yourself, because that is one thing that happened to me is after tracking my sleep for a long time, I realized that alcohol was having a negative effect. Go figure. So that's something I've cut out.
Yeah. And I know I just said it, and I just got a great espresso machine last month, so I'm into the coffee thing, but I know it's time for me to like dial that one back because that's negatively impacting my ability to sleep. And having something that gives you some objective measurement of how things are improving is good, but then don't downplay the subjective feelings that you're having. Like, hey, are you feeling better? Does this seem like it's positively impacting your life? You're like, yeah, I'm sleeping better, but like I don't watch any of my fun shows with my partner anymore. Like, that sucks. Yeah. It's like, okay, well then we got to find a middle ground. So then let me just rattle a couple things off. If for some reason you have not heard the sleep biohacks that are out there or the sleep hacks that are out there, here are some areas that you can really just try. Number one, in your turn electronics off 30 minutes to an hour before bed. So don't look at any screens, optimally like an hour before bed. You can read a book, you can talk to somebody, you can, meditate, whatever, I don't know, whatever, take a warm bath, something like that. There is taking a warm bath that works for some people. Some people need to get really cold too. Then make your room as dark as possible. That is really important. If you can get blackout curtains, you can shut off all lights, and anything that even makes a tiny little light in your room, cover it. So make everything pitch black. Make your room cold. So 65 degrees, I think, is the optimal temperature for sleep. If you can make your room that cold, and if you can make your bed that cold, there are devices that are now sold to go on your bed that will make the actual surface of your bed that temperature all night. And then, lastly, get your phones and your all the electronics out of your bed, out of your bedroom, not at your bedside. That's all got to be out. And then, yeah. And if perhaps you could benefit from some type of like low grade white noise in your room, something that emits like a kind of humming sound that can also be a benefit in your bedroom.
Right on.
So those are the little sleep tips.
Give them a try.
Give them a try. And if you didn't sleep too well, then doesn't mean you don't train. You just come in and you're more mindful of how you're approaching your training. You can still get a great dose response. But if you're constantly undersleeping, then you're not likely going to set any records.
Or look super sexy.
Yeah, or you're going to struggle with, if body composition is a primary objective of yours, you're trying to really change your body composition, then you need adequate sleep. If you have great body composition, you can continue to maintain that on moderate to inadequate sleep because we're survival, creatures. We have the ability to survive. But remember, if you're constantly undersleeping and you're out there pushing your limits all the time, not just in training, but in work, in life, in mental capacity, you're living off of adrenaline. If your need for coffee is going up, you're living off of adrenaline, and you're basically just so you're going to deplete yourself over time. Okay. Great talk.
All right.
Go grab a nap, everyone. Talk to you next week.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.